this is Tony with Kate's Crafty Closet, and I have a Halloween card for you today. So a crafty friend of mine were discussing one day things that we can do to challenge ourselves and stuff like that. So we discussed that let's go back and revisit projects that we've done in the past and how we would do it differently, or how would we redo it. So this is a card that I made last year on Periscope Live. So this was a really fun and really easy to do. So we're going to keep the format pretty much the same. We're going to change a couple things on it and just use some different dyes and stuff. But this is the card we're going to make today. This is the inside of the card. Inside of the card is going to be 100% completely different than what that is. So you're going to start off with some black cardstock. This is some 100-pound black cardstock from Michael's Recollections brand, and this is a top folding card, so that makes it 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So we're just going to go ahead and put that to the side, and hopefully we don't lose it in the process, because I'm really good at that. So the next thing we're going to go in is like, let's go ahead and bring in like the panels. So we have, I'm going to do 2 panels on the front. So we have 1, then we have 2. Then I'm going to do 1 for the inside of that. And these are just some Spellbinders dies that I use called the A2 Matting Basics A. Great set to have in your stash. So that's amazing. So I did the largest and the second to largest on there. And then I went ahead and die cut the small rectangle that they have in there, because that's what we're going to put a little sentiment on that I have for me. So let's just go ahead, because we're doing a lot of ink blending today, let's kind of do some of that now. Because I don't really have orange paper so much, and I kind of wanted to match what I'm using today, we're just going to go direct to paper. So this is some 80-pound Nina Solar White Classic Crest, and I'm just going to use some distressoxide spice marmalade, and I'm going to go direct to paper, and then we'll see if we need to add more, because we're going to put that other panel there. Remember, this is a pigment and dye ink, so it will stay wet a little bit, so I always watch where I put placement of my fingers, because you will get inky fingers. So I'm just going to make sure that is enough. Put that on there. We should be good. And if not, we can always come back in and fix that. So we're going to let that dry off to the side while it does that. And then we're going to clean up our mess. You can always have on hand if you want some cardstock and you don't want to waste that ink. You most certainly can add that to a card base or something of that nature. So let's go ahead and start with here's a panel that we're going to use on the front. So we're going to do some ink blending too. So today I'm first time using, well, actually second time, because I used it this morning. I'm going to use the Peachy Keen Studios Life Changing Blending Brushes. And I just went ahead and bought the 2-pack because it was more cost effective for me as a crafter. So if you don't want to spend too much, grab these 2. And like I said, $12 for 2 of them. And I will I will link all the products that I use today in the description box located at the bottom of this video. So let's go ahead and we're going to pull up the mustard seed distressoxide, and we're going to use that spice marmalade as well. And because these 2 colors are in the same family, I am not concerned about my brush being contaminated, but I always use a little cloth on the side to clean them off. So we're just going to go in and pull a lot of ink of this, and I'm just going to start in the center. Because these are oxides, these blend rather easily and rather smooth, so I'm not going to get harsh marks, and if I did, easily can blend them out. So that's why I'm not concerned of, usually you start off the paper and go on it. So I'm just going to add enough of this mustard seed in the center to kind of, and we can always go back in later after if we need to and add more of that color. But for now, I'm going to do one more time in here. And it doesn't really matter. Gradation is great. So we're going to put that to the side. And then I'm just going to wipe it off a little bit, not too much, because we're going into a darker color and it's not a huge concern for me. We're going to go in with our spice marmalade and just do the rest of the card. Like, I'm not going direct to it because it's going to be a little bit too darker than what I'm looking for, but we're just going to go ahead and fill up this card. So what is you all's favorite oxide colors to blend with? Let me know in the description box below. It's like, I'm not going to say I'm partial to any particular color. I like just experimenting and trying different blends because what may work may not work. It's just a fun part about playing and experimenting. And I'm trying not to get my fingers too inky, but I will just wipe them off on my towel. I could always come in with a piece of paper or a sticky note and hold it down, but for today, I'm not super concerned about that. This takes a little bit more time doing this ink blending part, but you can always do these ahead of time if you want to have them on hand, because you know certain color combinations you can use for different things. Like this one, we're doing a Halloween card today, but we can use this for fall. And we can use this for like a sunshine type of thing, so it's even still good. The fact that we're still in summer, that we can make a summer card with these colors. And I just love how these just blend so effortlessly. So yeah, this, like I said, this is the most time-consuming part of this card, but at the same time the most gratifying as well too, because you just watch a white blank piece of paper blossom into something amazing and artistic. Love it. And it's like I said, I'm not looking for perfection on this. It's Halloween, right? We like it a little off kilter. Like, it's not going to be technically spooky, but that's okay. And if you wanted to, you can add water splatters to this, but I'm not going to do that with this card because it's got a lot going on. I'm okay with that. So I'm just trying to fill in a little bit more of that section and just make sure everything is blended nicely. I just think that's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Okay. Just a couple more areas just to touch it up. Okay. We can push those to the side. We're kind of done with our ink pads for the time being. I'm just going to make sure that my fingers are not super full of ink. So I'm just going to clean off my little ink mess I made here. Okay. It's like awesome. Okay. And let's see. So that's for the outside of the card. So this is going to be the inside of the card. And I have this stamp set and stencil that is from Timholtz and Stampers Anonymous. And these I got from Michael's. I will also link that in the bottom. So we're going to go ahead and use that chevron stencil at the bottom. It's like, if I would have thought about this and I was going to use this knowingly, I would have grabbed my my Pixie spray, which is a low-tack adhesive that you can put on your stencils to help it keep it in place. So I'm just going to go in with those same color combinations. Like I said, it's not going to be perfect, and I'm okay with it not being perfect. So I'm going to try to avoid getting it into the pumpkin up there. And if you have any problems with that, you can use like a smaller detailed brush. Like this one right here. I guess it probably is a good idea. Why don't I just go ahead and use it? This is something I picked up at Joann's. In like the section with the stencils and stuff. And don't do what I just did. Drop it and make it go all over the floor. I have a tendency to drop things. So let's go ahead and line that back up again. And hopefully we get it on there. There we go. So I'm just going to go, like I said, because these are the oxides, blending is easy. Grab that. And if it goes into the other one, I'm okay with that because it's totally fine. Okay. So we're going to grab, that's all spiced, that's all mustard seed. Actually, that's spiced marmalade. No, that's mustard seed, my bad. I have the names right down the side, Tony, right? So this is going to be our spice marmalade. And like I said, I'm not super concerned with it being perfect. You can just dab it a little bit too if you want. I think I'm trying not to let the stencil move on me. And if I could add a little bit at the other areas and just give it a little bit of a different look, and I can lift it up a little bit to see how I like it, and I'm okay with it. It doesn't cover the whole paper, but that's okay. It doesn't need to. And if we want to, we can actually go ahead and line it back up like that, and we can add it to the end of the paper. See how that works? And then we have different colors and different gradations. Like, not perfect, and I'm okay with that. Missed a couple spots, but I'm just using and learning as I go myself. Like, I've not used stencils a whole lot in my crafting. So then we'll come in later and put a sentiment on that after we do the other part. So let's go ahead and grab that panel that we ink blended on and pull it up, because we're going to go ahead and use this stamp set that is from Peachy Keen. This is a haunted background, A2 size, so pretty much it's the whole, like, it's only one stamp. That's what I love about it. So I already have it in my stamp platform, and of course my magnet decides it wants to run amok. And I decided that I knew where I want to line it up at, because I already did placement earlier, because I can't put a magnet on it because I need to cover the whole area. So I know where I'm going to put it. So with this, I'm going to use Versafine black Onyx ink, just because it's a pigment ink, and I'll get better coverage because there's so many solid areas in this stamp that I will reduce the amount of times I need to stamp it. And because Versafine stays wet a little bit longer, it is the perfect ink for it, and great for detailed. So I'm just going to go ahead and pull that, and we're going to push down on it, and if it comes up, it's okay. I know where I need to line it up at. It's a lot of ink on there, so it will kind of stick to my stamp, and I'm okay with that. And pretty much I like how that looks already. I'm perfectly fine and okay with that, because it was too much, not close enough to the bottom. You had that little bit of room down there. We could always trim that off if we want, but because I'm going to use a distresser today, that'll kind of like go away. So I'm not super concerned about that. Isn't that gorgeous though? Like, it's already amazing by itself, right? So let's go ahead with this panel and go ahead with the card base that I almost lost. Make sure my fingers are not too inky, so I don't get any smudges on here. And I'm just going to go ahead and adhere this down with some art glitter glue. Okay. If it wants to come out, right? So give me a moment to unclog it. Okay. Hopefully that should do the trick. And I tell you, one of the things that I did on the original card is I put the black down before I did the ink blending, so that's why you see that it's a little bit more muted in that original card, and that's okay. If that's the look you want to go for, put your black ink down first and then go in with the blending of your oxides. It's totally fine and okay with that. And this is really a struggle, and I'm going to leave my little errors and stuff in here just to let you know that I am human and I do not get anything perfectly done on the first try, or sometimes not even the second try, right? So as I showed the other day making the bow, so I'm going to do my best to line this up, which totally not the best stuff because this is only an 1/8 of an inch border around with this die. So it's a little bit of a, it's not too hard, but not that bad. So here we go. Amazing. See how that looks already? And it matches. Loving that. So basically what I'm going to go ahead and do is, because this is pretty much dry for the most part, I'm going to go in with that distressor as I mentioned before. That's why I wasn't concerned about that bottom part. So you're just going to put it in here because this little these blades will rag the edges out. So you do it until you're happy with the look. Because I said I'm just looking for it to be like torn. Because an original card that I did, I had a die that kind of looked like torn edges, but I looked for it today, and unfortunately, before I could do the video, I could not find it, and that's okay. So I used a different way to get it. And if you want to ink those edges up, because you don't like the fact that it's white showing, do that after the fact, and that's probably what I'm going to do. I'll just go in with, I'll just dab it into the Versafine Onyx Black ink pad. I love this distresser. And so you see how we had that little white spot there earlier? It's gone. And I knew that was going to happen, and I was okay with it, you know, being that way. Okay. So there we have that. Now, so let's bring in our Versafine, and I'm just going to go across the card like that, and just kind of make those white edges not so white anymore. And if I get any onto the image, and I'm fine with that because, like I said, that's Halloween, gives it a little bit more character. Okay, always double checking, making sure I am not full of ink. So I'm going to go in with some foam squares, and we're going to pop this panel up. And these are just some foam squares that I get from the Dollar Tree when they have them in stock, which is usually not often. And when they do see them, I always buy all of them. Like, you will hear me say that every video that I use these in, because it's a good reminder for myself to, oh, when you go to the Dollar Tree, only check these. Okay. And we need one more pack. I like these because they're big. I'm very generous when it comes down to using my foam squares, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, be as generous as you want. You know, now the fun part, peeling off our release paper. And then I always, like I mentioned before in a video that I've done as a tips and tricks and techniques with tea, just put some liquid adhesive on the back of these. If you struggle with lining things up on the first try, that liquid adhesive allows that wiggle room because it doesn't grab, like, so you can move it around or lift it if you need to. And I never always have issues with that, so that's why I do it. So, and I'm always generous with the art glitter glue when it comes down to this, just so I can have that wiggle room. So I'm going to do my best to line this up, and like I said, see how we have that wiggle room because of that liquid adhesive, which I'm so grateful for, because see how that is off. But you know what? That's off kilter, but I'm okay with that. I like off kilter. I'm totally fine and okay with that. So I'm going to put that to the side. So there, that's kind of The next thing I went ahead and did, I already did this ahead of time because sometimes I struggle with sentiments and all that. So I just took that little rectangle die cut from that Spellbinders and I did the same thing. I did the mustard seed, then I went around the edges with the spice marmalade and the boo from that stamp set I showed you earlier from Timholtz. I went ahead and stamped that in the Versafine black Onyx ink. And I went ahead and put it up on some foam squares as well. So we can just go ahead and peel off that release paper as well. And I'm going to put some art glitter glue on the foam squares. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and put this about right there, because that's where I like it. Awesome. Isn't that awesomeness? So yesterday's video, well, actually not yesterday, I think a couple days ago, I showed a video how I did these wood veneer bats that I got from the Dollar Tree. So I will make sure to link this video at the end. So make sure you look for that in case you're curious. So I want to put this on here as just a three-dimensional piece. Like, that's one of the things I'm doing differently than the other card, because we had a spider web up there. But since we already have bats, I figured, why not add a bat? So let's go ahead and use our art glitter glue as well on this one. So see how this is a way to I using some of my things that I did in the project. So I'm kind of liking that placement there. And it's a little bit more glue than I anticipated squeezing out. So I'm just going to go in and grab some of that up. And I'm not super concerned, to be honest with you. But it does dry clear, but it will leave a little bit of a shiny there to it. So there we go. We have that. So let's bring in that stamping platform again. I'm going to peel off this stamp. I can go ahead and clean that later. And I'm going to grab that stamp set with the from Timholtz and Stampers Anonymous that I got from Michael's, and I'm going to stamp out the I think it says Happy Halloween if I'm not mistaken on there. I'm just hoping I can find it, but evidently there it is. I'm gonna say I can't find it. So here is this Happy Halloween. I believe it's one stamp. I know people will say that these have a smell to them. Usually these are acrylic, but these are not. These are actually photopolymer. I can tell because there's not much give to them. So if you get them that with an odor, you want that. You honestly, you do seriously, you want that, because that means it is a good quality stamp. So don't stress out about that at all. And I'm just trying to find that panel that we did earlier. See how things I get lost in my craft room like that? It's like Craftopia, Craftalanches, everything goes on in here. It's like insane. It's like Tony, how do you lose a panel that was literally just sitting right there? You know, but that's okay. We can use our magnets for this one. And I'm just going to, where do I want to put it at? I'm going to go a little bit up towards the top, so it gives us a room to put a handwritten message from so and so. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and grab that Versafine black Onyx as well. And I always tend to get my hands inky with this because that lid, how it flips, I always catch it. So here we go. We have Happy Halloween. We probably may not have to do this twice, but we may because it's a new stamp. And nope, we don't. I'm good with the way that looks. Perfect. And I can go ahead and take that out, clean that stamp off later after the fact. And I'm going to go ahead in with my We Are Memory Keepers Corner Trumpet. I'm going to do the stub part. So I'm just going to go ahead and put it in there. I think I actually did the deco part, but that's okay. We're just going to go with the deco side. That's okay. We improvise, right? And then we're going to come in with this, bring out our card front. And we're going to take a look at it and see how it looks. And yep, I'm good. And it's like, I'm not looking for perfection. It's Halloween, so it's perfect in its imperfections, as I like to say. Perfect in its imperfections. Like, that's the look I'm going for, and I've succeeded. All right, so we're going to go ahead and put that on there, and I'm going to make sure it's a little bit more straight than that, but if it's off kilter, we're going to say that's okay. Okay, there we go. Perfect. Love it. Turned out quite nicely. Like I said, we'll do a little bit of errors with the placing of the stencil, but then again, I'm okay with that. So here is our card. Let me bring in the one that was originally done. Like, you know, see, like the first thing you notice, the muteness, it's muted a lot more because, like I said, I put the black stamp down first and then did the ink blended on top of it, which you have to be careful doing because you run the tendency this could run because it's a pigment ink, and when you're being blending, it could make that run. So there is our card for today. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already, and also hit that notification bell when it comes up so you don't miss any videos that I upload. It's like I may go in after and put a little bit of liquid pixie dust on the house right here, and that will finish my card for today. I want to thank you for joining me, and y'all have a crafty day, y'all.